Yeah, and this is regarding listening for insight and metrics. Basically, the three things that we need are, you need to have some sort of conversation criteria before you start researching. You need to know some keywords which can be provided by the client, or you need to do the research yourself, which is a little bit more difficult because you might end up with very unusual industries. For example, I was doing a few months ago research for a company producing MSG. Does anyone know what MSG stands for? Monosodium glutamate. Very interesting. And umami. So I have absolutely no idea what that is, what it does, and so on. So I had to do the research from scratch and try to find out what exactly is the industry about. It's challenging, but it's nice because you get to kind of learn many things at the same time. In terms of technology, there are a number of paid social media monitoring tools that you can use. I know that our colleagues in North America are actually using and finding more easy Crimson Hexagon and Visible technologies. In the UK, we're only using Radiant 6. I'm not exactly sure why this was chosen, but anyway, it doesn't matter. And this is just to give you an idea of how the action reports would look like at the end, in terms of charts and bars and so on. Very interesting things that give an overview to the client, basically, of what's happening. And in terms of core services, listening posts, which are quite important for us because we get many clients that don't necessarily want to a proposal for a strategy. They just want to know what's happening with their brand in terms of mentions because of some sort of product that they've recently launched. Maybe we're not working with that client at the moment, but he just needs that. So he can just come to us and tell us that he wants a conversation map. A conversation map would basically refer to going through all the research that I was talking about in terms of mentions, share of voice, and so on, and come up with relevant insights and recommendations of what they should do further. That's all. There's no planning involved, and usually we just get paid for the conversation map. That's how a Radiant 6 dashboard looks like. Live listening posts. Again, there are some clients that want to see listening reports on a daily basis, because if they have something very, very large to monitor, it would make sense to see how the engagement is different from day to day. And crisis management, which is a little bit more complicated, and luckily we don't actually deal with this every day, because that would mean we have a problem. It involves a lot of research because of some sort of crisis. For example, I don't know, if a plane crashed and one of the companies producing the engine, for example, is our client, then we kind of need to deal with that, and we need to do automatic listening of all posts and so on, and try to
calm things down.
Kind of, yeah. Again, that's strongly related to PR. Although it's online, it's still PR.
Like last year with the BP.
Yes, actually BP was our client in North America, and unfortunately I can't talk about that subject, but we did a very good job.
We actually did, because we don't remember it as much.
Yeah. Yeah, well. The second core service that we're offering is influencer map and outreach, as I was talking to you about earlier. But this is the basics of the influencer. Yeah.
I can hear you very well.
I'm sorry, I have to look at the slide because it's in that direction, and the
your voice is going to there, not
yes,
to us.
yes. I'm sorry about that. Yeah.
You could just move it from the middle.
Yeah, but that would mean that I'm not going to be able to see very well, and I have a problem with my eyes.
There is a screen there a bit.
Okay, then I'm just going to move there.
So you wake them up down there just in case it's...
Okay, I hope no one is sleeping.
Or talk.
We have the presentation going, so you have to bear with me for another 12-10 minutes. Hopefully not with that. Yeah, and she's looking at the time already. Okay, very nice. Moving on. The basics of the influencer relationship management that I was talking about earlier comes from some guys' theory that you have the influencer node basically by trying to talk with an online blogger, you get to reach, if he has 1,000 viewers a day or something like that, you get to reach all their audience. Network dispersion refers to trying to talk to the social grassroots through peer influence, and that's social networking, and trying to reach buzz through using, I don't know, Twitter or using Facebook and so on. The node plus network model is the one that we are trying to use on a regular basis because we think it's more complex and it offers the possibility to actually connect with a larger audience and engage with our customers directly rather than just for influencers. Because when you contact an influencer, it's like giving him the option to talk about your product, whatever he wants, and it's not necessarily good. At the end of the day, it's better to just engage with them through Facebook, for example, because you have complete, you're in complete control when you have that. And these are a few of the things that we take into consideration when we're trying to put together an influencer map. Reciprocity, consistency, social proof, liking, authority, scarcity. Probably I should be able to take you through all of them, but I'm sure you would pretty much be very bored by the end of it. So just to give you an idea again. If anyone needs an explanation on this, I'm happy to explain, but just have a look. Does it make sense to you? Do you see anything? Okay. Reciprocity, if brands offer someone value to influencers, they reciprocate. Consistency, people want to remain consistent with the public commitment. Social proof, if other women, for example, like her, use a product, she will try it as well. Liking, if other people like her, ask her to try a product, she will as well. Authority, strangers with authority that I was talking about earlier, if you were able to listen to what I was saying earlier. Scarcity, exclusive opportunities that drive action.
By the way, this is, may not look like it, but this is a theory of persuasion. So
yeah.
She's talking about it in an online context. But this is straight from, I mean, this is a very famous guy that has lots of theories, if you see the little footnote. But this is just it's a general theory of persuasion. So I love this slide because it's a direct application of theory into practice.
That's what we tried with the influencer node and so on as well. It's basically someone theory that we kind of try to use it in practice. And these are 7 word-of-mouth marketing drivers that we have to go through every time we kind of try to sell a story. And this applies to PR as well. Do we have a good story, or can people show their involvement in a visible way? Because if you just offer content and you don't allow people to engage in a way, they're just going to forget like 2 seconds after they read whatever you want them to read. Do we offer something new to talk about? If it's something that has been discussed for the last, I don't know, 2 months or so, it's not going to be that interesting unless you come up with something, I don't know, a new research on that topic or anything that's very interesting. Do we let our supporters be creative? That would probably work very well with the use of social networks, because you have all sorts of apps and things like that, and for mobile as well, that you can use in order to connect people in a more emotional way, let's say, with your brand, and make it more creative, because they feel like, do we invite people to participate? The next one, it's pretty much, it goes hand in hand with that. You invite them to participate and be creative, and therefore they're going to associate your brand in the future with this, and they're going to like your brand more, and they're going to recommend your brand. They're going to become your brand advocates, let's say, in the future. That's what we're trying to do. Do we offer some value? Of course, if we just offer something that's as a product, for example, you have a product but you don't offer nothing that's new. I mean, it's the same like the one that your competitor has. You have nothing to outreach your influence about, and nothing for them to write about. Do we remind people to spread the word? Of course, there is a call to action that needs to be in pretty much all the email that we send, for example, or if we have an offline event and so on, you need to be able to tell people where to find you online as well. For example, we had a digital live studio for one of our clients, Groa. I'm not sure if anyone has ever heard of Groa. because it's a very niche related to architecture, so I wouldn't expect you to have heard of it. But we had a digital live studio in an architecture festival, and we had some small cards with the Facebook URL, Twitter handle, and so on that we handed to everyone who was actually stopping at their stand. So in this way, you kind of encourage them to find you online and spread the word and so on. And this is just to give you an idea of the entire influencer network that we're trying to cover through what we're doing in terms of social networks and so on. And this is basically what we're doing on a regular basis in connection to Facebook. It's like our third core service. You should be able to see the title, but for some reason you can't. Here, conversation management, it says there, yeah, great, I've just noticed. So there are a few stages that you have to go through. First of all, the conversation calendar, in order to be able to come up with the conversation calendar, which is, by the way, just a structure of what's going to happen on all your social networks. It can be for a year, for 6 months, for 1 month. It depends on what you agree on with your client. And you need to be able to come up with some sort of branded updates, but you have to be careful because no one actually wants to see something that's 100% about your products and about how good you are and about your company and so on. You need to be able to offer more information, and you need to be able to start a conversation through questions, through polls, applications, and so on. And there is a conversation manager who does that on a regular basis, and also on a daily basis he needs to go through what happens on the page and come up with a flagging document, as we call it, for our client, which means a spreadsheet that logs all the comments that happened during that day and our suggested answers that the client might agree or disagree with. And only after we have approval from the client we can actually post a reply, which is quite a lengthy process from my point of view, but they like to feel that they're in control, and that's the only way. And of course you can use social CMS in order to schedule your updates and so on a regular basis, because it would mean that you would lose kind of 5-10 minutes at least of your day for nothing. Since you already have conversation calendar in advance, it's easier to just use Hootsuite, for example, or Socialon for whatever CMS that you want. And this is an example that you can probably the entire page there, not here. But this is an example of a page that we are kind of working with. Actually, I'm the community manager for this, and this is how it looks like. It was created like 2 months ago, so we're just starting with this client, and it's not necessarily, as I said, it's a very niche client because they're producing faucets and things that are for interior design rather than for general use. And our core service number 4 would be content and experience activation, which refers to, because we're part of PR, we tend to pay a lot of attention to events. And we're trying to engage with people offline, but trying to amplify the event online and the result of the event and engagement with everyone who's not actually able to be there. So we have to structure our planning pre-event, event, and post-event.